not my problem. It's not my problem. When I feel heavy metal, and I'm pissed and I'm beat. When I lie and I'm missing all of the time, but I'm never sure why I need you. Please let me shout.
All right. Welcome to the podcast on a Thursday afternoon. Couple of afternoon podcasts that we've been doing lately. Maybe not as quite as exciting as the Taylor Swift coming on.
I mean, yeah, that's a lot of competition, bro. We got a lot of competition. John, no offense, coach. Yeah,
we'll do our best. We'll do our
None
best.
taken.
That's it. That's
God
it.
damn.
That's it.
I mean, that's a lot of hype, man. Like, shit.
Yeah, oh man, I see it everywhere. I see it like everywhere my feed, man. Out of nowhere, because I haven't watched any of their pods in forever. But obviously,
It's our algorithm, brother. It's the algorithm.
It's served up all of a sudden. We got great pod. Big Coach Schumann, I'm here. I got Coach D to my left, and we have our guest of today, Coach Hurst. He's got a fantastic TikTok page where he breaks down. He's a coach as well at the middle school level, but we discovered him from his TikTok page where he really does a great job of breaking down different clips, plays, and such. And so we wanted to talk to him more about some of the things that he's doing, and so we're excited to have him on the podcast. And it's a lot of fun with all the information that's out there and the breakdowns that have been going on from a lot of different people. So we want to have some of the guys that are really kind of starting to really gain some great traction in that area, and John's one of them. So it's great to have you on, John.
No, yeah, appreciate that, Coach. Happy to be here.
Yeah, it's an interesting world. It's a lot of information within the football space, and you can get whatever you want nowadays. So talk about your playing background, coaching background, and how you kind of got into all that.
Yeah, for sure. Playing high school, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. Played at a school called Cambridge High School. Had a good high school career. Ended up walking on at the University of West Georgia, Division II school out in Carrollton, Georgia. Played wide receiver. Got redshirted that first year. Ended up making the team, the travel team that next year, redshirt freshman year. And then just kept kind of building year after year, getting more playing time. By senior year, kind of was the guy and ended up having a really good year. Got the opportunity to sign with an agent, to do a pro day. Ended up having a really good pro day. And then was talking to some teams after that and ended up getting an undrafted free agent with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This would have been 2020 as a receiver. Had a really good camp with them and ended up making the 53-man and then ended up getting hurt. So I went on IR for a few weeks of that season. Came back, went on practice squad, got cut from there, went out to the Chargers for the rest of the year. Had to watch the Buccaneers win the Super Bowl from afar, which was tough. But no, that was cool. And then was with the Chargers that next camp, got cut, went back to Tampa on the practice squad, was there for the whole year. And then signed with the Colts after that. Ended up having 3 ankle surgeries, just never really got fully healthy. And, it's a hard level and a hard business model to not be yourself, to not be 100%. And so knew I couldn't do it anymore. Got out of that. Had the opportunity to coach receivers at a high school here, Chattahoochee High School. Did that in 2023. Was a middle school PE teacher, coached at high school. Did that for a year, had a great experience, and then got an opportunity to go be a head coach down in Tampa, Florida, at a high school called Lato High School. Absolutely loved it. Getting that head coaching experience was amazing. I learned a lot of things. There was a lot of struggle, a lot of trial and error, a lot of failure. We didn't have the best season, but really learned a lot. Really loved it. Loved those kids. But all my friends, all my family, they're all up here in Georgia, and felt called to come back up here, and so got an opportunity to come coach at a school called Mount Pisgah. Mount Pisgah is it's a private school in Johns Creek. So I teach at the middle school, and I coach special teams coordinator and receivers coach. Making the transition from head coach and calling plays, and then not doing that as much now. I kind of wanted an outlet in a way to where I could kind of like still be invested and involved in that space, because I love it. To me, there's no better job in the world than being an offense coordinator and just dialing up plays, Friday nights. And so wanted to stay involved that way. And so started a page called Coordinator Corner. Started off on X, on Twitter. That's kind of slow building. And I was like, let me take it to TikTok and, start doing breakdowns, looking at different coordinators. I looked at, offense, defense coordinators, both sides of the ball. And just had a lot of fun with it, learned a lot, still learning a lot, still really enjoy doing it. And got a couple thousand followers now, and got connected with y'all, and just get to connect with really good coaches, and meet really cool people. So it's been cool. Want to keep it going. Want to invest in these kids at Mount Pisgah, and then keep building Coordinator Corner as much as I can.
When you go and breaking down film and everything like that, from the time you're coaching, have you discovered a lot of things that you're like, okay, this is something that makes sense? So what are you starting to discover as you break down all these different films?
Yeah, I think one thing, like I started doing these, like I started off doing like threads of different coordinators on Twitter, and I was just looking at like the best guys, right? And it was like, I feel like I'm saying the same thing about each of these guys, and it's like the things that stick out to me is they all have an identity. They all layer plays really well. They all set up these plays really well. They make disguise plays really well, make things look like a base play and then add a couple wrinkles off of it. They get the ball to their best players. They utilize their personnel and their players really well. They utilize shifts and motions really well. And it's not just, random plays that they're throwing out there. It's not, right. And it's not even they're doing the most creative, crazy stuff. I mean, sometimes they are, but that's going to be every once in a while. The bread and butter is just doing those things that I mentioned really well. And so whenever I'm calling plays again, those are kind of the things that I'm always going to be thinking about and knowing that's what's going to make you, an effective coordinator.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, layering plays is a big thing, because everything gives you another thing, another counter, another area to run different plays. It's interesting how big that has become, because I would say originally, I mean, going back to it, like when you watch stuff like option or wishbone or the wing T offense, like basically it was the base package had all those different layers to it, and everything was off the base package. But now it's like each play that's used in the offense has, and especially at the higher levels where there's a lot more diversity in the plays. Yeah, they all have multiple layers to it. So as opposed to a system having the multiple layers, it's actually each individual play that has the multiple layers to it, which is really, I mean, are you seeing a lot of that?
Yeah, 100%. And that's kind of like a category theme that I kind of focused on too. I don't know if you know Coach Ian Tatum. He's pretty active.
He's the man. We've had him on.
Really? Okay, yeah, he's the man.
He's been on.
He's a good dude, and he had this video called like the same as like taking a base play. He take GT counter and keeping the vocab and your rules the same as for your offensive lineman, and maybe changing one or two things. And like at the pro level, at the college level, it helps tremendously, but especially just at the high school, youth ball level, like the more that you can keep, your concepts, your base stuff the same as for the majority of your offense, and maybe change one or two people or one or two things, you're just layering in that sense. And you can just do so much more that way. So you keep it simple, and then you're able to do 10, 11, 12 things out of one look, or maybe change a formation to have 3, 4, 5 formations out of it. But you're getting to the same play. It just looks a little different, add a little motion to it. Yeah, I mean, studying Mike Denbrock at Notre Dame, like he would run. This is something I was really bad at too. Like he would run the same play, like the same exact play 5, 6, 7 times a game, maybe out of a small different look or whatever. But if it was hitting, he would stay with it. I was always really bad about it. I always wanted to get, I got to set it up now. Like I got to get creative now. I got to out scheme, out coach, outsmart. And that's the thing too. Like if it's working, just stay with it. But yeah, there's just a million different things that you can do. Just taking a base, taking an identity, and doing a lot of different things out of it.
Well, that's the thing that makes it so interesting. That's what makes the offense is so interesting now, that you can do all those kind of things. You can layer it. What are some of your favorites that you've seen so far?
Good question.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just a loaded question,
Yeah.
It is.
Of course.
I'll do, some of the recent ones that I've looked at. I just looked at a lot of like Will Stein from Oregon and what he did with Dylan Gabriel. They had a lot of, outside zone, speed option type of stuff. And one thing that he did that he really liked was he would run, set it up like speed option. And he would kind of roll Gabriel to the edge, to the boundary. Those safeties are flying down. They're running. It's, a clear dig concept behind it. And I mean, it was Tez Johnson who came on a deep cross, and there's no one over there to cover that side of the field. The safety's coming down, corners are coming down. And he's just wide open. And it's because he set it up so well. They run so much of that. Defenses have to honor it. And then, I mean, that's what makes coordinate. Like, you have to have a feel for the game. You have to have feel for the flow of the game, when to call the right thing at the right time, not to get ahead of yourself, not to miss opportunities. And I feel like statistically, he was, I think, the most efficient play caller in college football in 2024. And he just knows when to call things at the right time. And seeing stuff like that, just him, hit his outside zones, his speed options, and then roll his quarterback to the boundary, make it look like that, and then hit a deep touchdown behind it. I don't know, stuff like that is really cool to study.
Yeah, it makes it's the Dylan Gabriel stuff. That gives him that run option all the time, and good athlete like that was able to take advantage of it. He's got all kinds of great pass concepts off it. Oregon does a lot of that kind of stuff. Mississippi does so much with the RPOs and how they, especially last year when they had Jackson Dart, but they'll do the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah, they'll do the same thing this year because the quarterback this year is supposed to be able to do that kind of stuff too, where they're layering all those different things. What as far as like when you're doing all the kind of content, where are you looking to go with it? What do where are you looking to take it?
Yeah, I think, I was talking to Coach earlier. I feel like I'm in such like a learning phase right now, and it kind of like a trial and error phase with it. Really trying to see what works, what doesn't work. And to be honest too, like I'm not chasing like numbers or followers or view counts or engagements or anything. Like to me, at the end of the day, like I just want one to do it for myself, to study these guys,
Yeah.
to do breakdowns, and then just share with people. And if people like it, awesome. If people don't like it, awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I want my stuff just to be, I just want to focus on making quality stuff and, putting quality content out there. Cause guys too, who are just like very clickbaity and, chasing to be viral and different things like that. And, I want to build it, but that's not like the main, focus. So I mean, at this point, like just learning what works in the social media world, learning what doesn't
Right.
work, and then learning myself and making myself a better coach by studying all these people. I mean, the whole social media world is a different beast. I feel like it's evolving all the time.
Constantly changing.
Constantly changing. And so just want to continue to learn. I think the biggest thing too is like what really separates people too is just being consistent with it. So just want to continue to do it, especially, football season's starting. I don't have as much time as I did over the summer. But just looking for different times to still make videos, to still watch film, to still, do breakdowns. So long answer short to answer your question. I don't know what I want to do with it in the long run, but want to continue to learn.
You're good, man.
Just share good content,
Is the what's the hardest part about it in terms of, is it finding the clips, the actual, voiceover, or setting it up to put it out there on social media? John, what have you found to be the hardest, or, at least maybe an obstacle that you've kind of had to, navigate around in order to get you where you are now?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, I mean, there's like challenging parts like to each, part of the process. I think figuring out like what kind of breakdown I want to share is kind of challenging sometimes.
Okay.
Because like I try to keep them between like a minute and 2-minute videos, and it's like I could talk about 10 different things that I saw about this coordinator, about this play caller. Like, what do I want to share? And so, kind of like figuring out and really funneling in of what would be, helpful to share, what would be a helpful breakdown, what would be quality content, and then kind of choosing one. I think I'm learning more about like the recording of it, the videoing of it. That can be kind of tricky sometimes, like timing things up.
Yeah.
To me, the editing, it's kind of easier. It's more time consuming, but I wouldn't say it's like a difficult part of it. So I think just trying to figure out what you want to share. I usually pick a coordinator, watch a good bit of his film, and then kind of,
go
trying
from
to get
there.
One topic it can be difficult sometimes.
Right.
And so it's kind of, Dave, that's kind of a question to you too, because I know you do a lot of this stuff too in terms of, breakdowns or whatever it is. Like, what do you find to be the most difficult part of it? Is it finding stuff? Is it, because look, to me, I don't think finding stuff's hard. This shit's out there all over the place. Where it comes from, now that's another story, right? But what's the hardest part that you feel within it, Dave? Or is there a hard part? I don't know. This isn't my world. I mean, I would love to be a part of it. I mean, to me, I'd be like a little too critical, be like, oh, this is shit. I don't know what this guy's doing. Like, he has no clue. Like, I just think I'd be too far one end to the opposite. But, what do you feel, Dave? Do you come over, any things? I mean, you've been doing it for a while now. So what do you feel?
I think there's endless amount of content. It's what you want to focus on. like I like to focus on things that I think are exciting and or that can make a difference. So like drill wise, you know, uh, base drills, creative drills that actually translate, and then as far as like from a positional standpoint, and then play wise, like there's things that I see other guys post and or plays other guys post, and I'm like, I like to try to explain it as much as I can. So from what I see of or what's trying to get accomplished, and kind of do that quickly, because no one has a lot of attention span on social media. But
Yeah,
but try.
that's for sure.
No, there's no doubt. Even when people watch long form, they watch 5 minutes and then they skip around, right? So, it's a kind of thing where if there's something that really jumps out on me, like my favorite part is base plays that are utilized in multiple different ways. So, like for example, inside zone, right? When they kick out with the H back, and then they'll run inside zone straight regular way where everybody's reaching, or and then they'll run it where they'll have a guy go in motion. So there's all kinds of different things that like the window dressing I think is intriguing, and then I think what we talked about earlier is really exciting, the layering of plays, like what comes off of this, like the same. I like the same exact set, and then all the plays off of that set, like so, kind of a little bit of like the wing T philosophy, but like with each individual play, like okay, I'm trying to run power, and I'm in a certain set on power. What can I run the different variations off of all of that, which is usually, obviously it's endless possible combinations, but what are some of the variations that can build off of that? So power, right? Regular old school power. I can, if I'm in gun, if I have my guy in regular gun, he's offset to the left, I can go and give it. And it gives a look of like some form of like a counter, but I'm running power. And then I could obviously pull as a quarterback. I could read the backside. I could do it where I'm throwing a bubble screen off of that. I could do that where I'm doing a rocket screen off of that. I could do double slants off of that on the backside. I can go and run tight end down the shitter off of that, so there's a lot of different things that you could do just from that one play, right? So just right off of power, right? So you can go and blast power, and if it's having success, you don't got to do anything else, and then you can tag a read on it. And my favorite thing was the tag things, and I'm coaching my son's team now, which is they're 10 years old, so we limit obviously tags and all those kind of things. But we do all of our plays and layering. Instead of like using words, we use graphical images, so they know, this play is power. This is power, and they don't have to like think a whole lot about it. They know the next play off of it because it's right in front of them is the next, what the next play would be. Maybe it's slants or vertical, whatever it is. And that I think is really, really powerful. And I think that goes all the way up the chain of football, because it's your communication style. How you communicate is whatever individual coaching style is to that, right? And if you're you're in a middle school system, you may have the high school coach that's coming down. You may not, because maybe you have 8 different middle schools going to one high school, right? So it depends on everybody's situation. And where at whatever level kids go to, they're going to have to learn some new form of communication system, but they can learn no matter what it is, like the different schemes. So it doesn't matter what you call it or what it is. They can learn different schemes and a different layering and have that knowledge base. So when they come into whatever new communication system in their head, they can go, oh, okay, I know this. This was power back in the day. It doesn't matter what I call it. This was power, and these were the plays we ran off of it. Oh, they're doing similar type of things. Oh, they're doing this instead. So I think that that's really important, and the creativity in football allows you to be a lot more creative by doing that. And I think that's what the wing T system did a fantastic job, and the wishbone and some of those pure systems. Even when you were running the run and shoot, Derek, right? Like you guys were layering off of the run and shoot, right? So those old
Yep.
school those systems that used one system layer, now you could take a play and say, hey, I'd like to run out of this set 4 plays. And now you have a package. And if you have literally 3 packages like that, you have 12 plays that give you 3 completely different looks that you're really not running a whole lot. You're really running the kids, for the most part, are remembering 3 things, and they're just remembering all the tags off of it. And I think that that's really, really powerful in today's game because kids want the creativity. They want to be excited, and coaches want to have success in what they're doing because the attention spans are not as good as being able to, you don't have the time. You don't have 2-a-days anymore. Like, some places you do have 2-a-days, but you don't have the same level of time you could spend where you could just go into the droves and diving into it. You just can't do that anymore, especially at the high school youth and youth and middle school level. And even the pros have to be able to pair some of the things back that they're doing, or layer as well, because of the fact that they don't hit. They have to they have limited time that they're going to be involved with the players. So I think you see that, and now it's made them more creative. And Mississippi's awesome at it. I mean, Mississippi does it so good. Oregon does it so good. And it's very interesting to see that. And people are like, oh my God, they're running all these different plays. But to coaches who really know, they're really running a handful of things, and they're just tagging a bunch of stuff, which they probably built in the first few days of practice anyway. So is that some of the stuff that you're seeing? Like, I mean, are those the things that you're trying to accomplish in yourself and what you're doing, John?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think I like how you talked about, some of the tag stuff. I think I like how you said, you can do so much. Like, it looks like you're doing a lot, right? But you're really maybe changing 1 or 2 things. And to me,
Right.
I did it a little bit differently. Like, I would tag everything. I mean, we had some long play calls. It was my guys were able to pick it up a little bit better. And that's the thing too. Like, you got to figure out what works at different things work at different places. Yeah, 100%. But yeah, if we're running, like you talked about power, if you got power right and you come back power right read or whatever, like, it's still all the same for everyone except for one guy now, and it's it just allows you to be a lot more creative for sure.
There's no doubt. And it gives you you're making the defense think there's a lot going on. And the way defensive coordinators are, the way that they coach things up, if you force them into a situation where they feel like there's a lot of things that that are going on, you're going to force them to play more base or take unnecessary chances by bringing guys, and then you might get a gash from that. So, as they get older, when they're younger, you worry blitzes is hard because, they're not going to have to check into this one play and be able to go to a play to give it. But as they get older, blitzes, man, like, you see this, like, this is what you're going to do right away. Like, good blitz, I mean, that makes it easier. So, and especially when you get reads and RPOs, you start to be able to be like, okay, great. You start to welcome those things. It's really interesting how football, like, as far as like when you see like what's so cool with like the motion, like the all the high use of like the motions, like orbit motion.
Oh yeah,
What I used to call like um
jet,
uh well
all kinds of it.
like we used to have like zag used to be an out motion, right? And then we used to have like um zig would be a cross, and but now you see the in motion, like that in motion that comes in, and then they're going back out on a route on that, and then the orbit all the way across coming in and then going all the way around. It's amazing how that has created all kinds of like even in the NFL where guys are like super wide open, and you're like, how could that be? But it happens so fast because of the communication aspect for defense, and how do guys adjust that? Do you break down defensive stuff or just almost all offense?
I do defense. It's primarily offense, but I'm an offensive guy. But I will dabble in defense. I don't feel as confident with it as I do offense, but that's the thing, what I said of why I do it. I do it so I can learn, and I've learned some good stuff on that side of the ball. So yeah, I'll do both.
When you were with Tampa, by the way, was Nick Rapone there?
He was
defensive backs back then. I think he might have been.
Was he?
Who was the head coach back then in 2020?
Nick Rapone was there. It was Bruce Arians.
It was Bruce Arians. Yeah, that's his guy.
Yeah, he was there. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I played for him in college at UConn. He was
really?
Yeah, he was my defense coordinator in college.
Gotcha. What position did you play?
I played linebacker.
Okay.
So, and he was our defense coordinator, and I was an agent up until I think it was 2020. Like it was COVID that I packed it
2020.
20. I think 21 was when I officially was over. Yeah. And so I was an NFL agent for 6 years. So, yep. So I'd send a couple of guys to camp with Nick back in the day.
It's a tough business, man.
Oh yeah, it's a very, very tough business. It's
especially when you got especially with the injury bug too, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, here you are doing it. It's just hard, dude. It's really, really freaking hard when you just can't get healthy, right?
Yeah, 100%.
You're supposed to be performing at your best all the time. You need to be tip top. If you're that teeter guy and it's just banged up, it's like
reps already, right? So
right,
you need your reps to begin with as free. I used to have mostly free, all free agent guys, and I had quite a few guys that made it. 5 or 6 guys that made it for quite a while. Actually, some that are still in the league, but what was interesting is that the reps were so limited. It was like you had to like be great in those reps, and it's not like guys are tackling or bringing guys to the ground either. So they're projecting a little bit too. Like, all right, is he gonna be able to do it? And even though you get some reps in obviously you get reps in the preseason, but it's very, very interesting from that standpoint. And it's one of those things where the NFL is such a business. Like although college is now like that, some capacity now because of NIL and transfer portal. Do you have coaches reaching out to you and asking for things for you to put together or things that you see? What's been happening with your page since you started?
Yeah, I would say just, no one, been asking for things. It's more just connecting with different coaches. Coach Derek and I got connected, and, we talked some backside of White Cross, which I loved. Coach Tatum, like I said, talking some of that. And there's been some other guys, just hearing about what they do. There's been some, big, like just different college coaches who follow on X, been able to talk to some of them just briefly. But I guess that's another goal too, I know, Dan Casey, who does some of his stuff big on social media, just connects with like a lot of, college coaches who will go in and sit with them and talk with them. And I think that's a goal of mine, not to try to be him or be on his level or whatever, but to just always be a student of the game, and to be able to connect with some of the guys, doing really cool stuff at the D3 level, at the D2 level. That's where some of the best stuff is coming out of. Just go sit and build those connections, and learn from them. So, I it's the coaching world is super cool. You meet some really cool people, some of the nicest guys in the world, and majority, not all, are always willing to talk and always willing to share. So, no, it's cool.
That's awesome. Um, that's part of it. That becomes part of the thing is that sharing of the communication and being able to get guys to learn from each other. What do you think? Like as far as what you're seeing and when you break films down, um, are there any new trends of things that you're seeing that you really like, or things that you were like, wow, like this is something I need to look further into?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think, yeah, it's always adapting, always evolving. I think one thing for me that I continue to see is just, and it you know has always been there, but I think it's become way more prevalent in the past few years. Is just how many unbalanced formations that offenses get
Yes.
through. Like you talked about the wing tee, like the wing tee has always been, they get to a lot of unbalanced sets, but your spread teams, some of these different teams, they're starting to utilize a lot of different unbalanced sets, and just like you were talking about, it just makes the defense think so much more, and have to, add an element that they have to think about. So it's been fun to watch. Ben Johnson got to a lot of it. Andy
Yep.
Kotelnicki got to a lot of it. And like it looks it. This is what we're talking about too. Like it looks crazy, and I watched Andy. Studied Andy Kotelnicki when he was at Kansas and then Penn State. And I was like, how does he like have time to like rep all these plays in practice? During a week. And it's, what we're talking about. Like it looks crazy and it looks super creative, but it's just, you know, one small unbalanced set, one small unbalanced formation, one small wrinkle, one small motion. So, it just adds an element for defense to think about. And it's cool to see the creativity, especially just in the spread world. A lot of teams get into drawing up some cool stuff out of unbalanced sets.
Yeah, I agree with that. The unbalanced sense gives you those number advantages, makes them have to make a move and figure some
Yes,
things
sir.
out. And there's no doubt about that.
If nothing else, it's something else that they have to prepare for during the week of practice, right? Like, I'm a big
Yeah.
proponent of like you keep it simple by running the same plays, but you can window dress that thing with a million different formations and a million different motions. And it might be, listen, we might just run the guy across, run back the other way just for the hell of it, because especially from my experience at the high school level, like that little bit of something different, right? Like high school guys just don't have the time to prepare for it. It's the same thing with being as a special teams guy, like model huddle, shit like that, dude, where an opponent has to spend an extra 10, 15, 20 minutes. Like that might be the 10 extra minutes that the team is totally dialed out because it's been a longer practice, and you steal 2 points and now, it's 8-0 like that. And that's a different thing. Now you're chasing points the whole game just from something so minuscule, but it takes the time and the dedication for coaches to really plug in to kind of do that. Or like you said, the creativity, the innovativeness, right? Where some guys are just, this is our system, this is what we do. That's I think it's one of those things that, guys, and everybody, look, Mondays are always hilarious, right? Because guys watched a game on Saturday and they're like, oh, we can do that. And then they watch something on Sunday and they're like, oh shit, we can do that. So, those guys come in and they're like, hey, I want to do this, I want to do that. And we're like, but if it's not coming off of something that we've already, now we might have like, a wrinkle per week, right? Like, you throw in something here, an exotic, like I like to call them, like an exotic or something, where that keeps the kids kind of like, oh, this is going to be great. And, it's just in your bag of tricks, right? That's something different. But when guys come in and they start just throwing out, like you said, they call plays, but it's not in a series. It's not, hey, right? Like, good offensive coordinators do things in the first quarter to set up things in the third quarter, right? Or vice versa, like next series, like, hey, you're right, like, of like, hey, your starters, like, we're gonna run this because if they do this, we got this. If they do that, we do that. That's being a true play caller in my mind, not just, hey, let's run this to freaking run this. Like, I don't think that it adds to a level of success. And Dave will tell you, because, he's coaching, the youth right now. And for him to run what he runs with those guys, like, it's all system based. Like, it comes off other plays. I think that's the way to do it. For you personally, if you had to kind of put yourself in a category for, when you're an OC, and you've been a head coach, like, what is your system, right? Like, if you do get the opportunity, which I'm sure you will, to be a head coach again, what will you run? Will you be multiple? What system, or what category will you kind of put yourself into?
Yeah, I would say it's multiple. It's spread multiple. I like inside zone, outside zone, zone read. In an ideal world, I have the best quarterback in the world who can throw it over the yard and can read an end and can run the ball and can do a lot of different things. But no,
Atlanta's different, Dave. I need to go to Atlanta, I guess. I need to go to Atlanta to find one of them cats, buddy. I guess, like, that's shit. Because, look, they're a dime a dozen.
We got some good talent down here, man.
Oh, God. Gwinnett County, forget it. There's athletes everywhere. But it's spread, though, all over, though, now. But
so you're saying I don't have to prepare as a DC to see a wing T if I go to Atlanta? Like, I'm down for that.
You'll see wing T, but you just see athletes everywhere.
If you get out, get outside, get outside the city, get outside Metro Atlanta, you're going to find a lot of teams who are running the wing T. But no, yeah, like, even the identity, being multiple, getting under center, going outside zone, nakeds off of it, naked throwback screens off of it, inside zone RPO. I was a big empty draw RPO type of guy, really easy to read numbers. It's math, math on the field. You're just reading numbers, you're reading leverage, you're reading space. And then I'm a big mesh rail guy. I would probably run mesh rail 50% of the time if I could. But yeah, just doing it.
Can't stop mesh. I don't care what coverage you're in. You can't stop mesh. Like, it just is what it is.
It's undefeated, man. I love it so much. It's easy for a quarterback too. People think it's hard, but it's only hard for defenses. Yeah, just doing a lot of different stuff, but keeping an identity, keeping a base. And then I am really big, and I know a lot of people say it, just finding out what your players can do, what your personnel is, what you have.
Absolutely.
You can find out real quick what your players are going to be able to do well and what they can, and you can't be married to a system that they're not going to be able to do. gets more complicated when you're thinking about, longevity and feeder middle school teams and, just what you want to do and the type of kid. I mean, I don't know how it is up there, but kids transfer all the time. Who you want to attract to your program and different things like that. So it really depends at the end of the day.
Right. No doubt about it. It's not true. That area is such good football. It's unbelievable. Georgia now is replaced. So it's Florida, Texas, but Georgia's right on the heels of California as far as number of guys scholarship wise. I think some years they've actually had more Division I players in California. But it's amazing how it's grown, and obviously because part of it's because population has grown too. But there's so much the emphasis of football and the Atlanta area, the North Atlanta. I mean, places like
it matters.
Well, a place like Buford build a stadium like what they built. You know what I mean? It's unbelievable.
Dude,
that
shit's crazy.
Yeah,
they're playing Milton tonight on ESPN too.
Yeah, yep. They're what they
right
built is and then that's a big
attracts
part.
It.
Yeah, of course, that attracts it. So
no, I mean that was the biggest thing. Like I'm from Georgia, played here, coached here. Went down and got to experience coaching down in Florida, and I loved it. But there was also a lot of challenges with it. Like you see the money that they put into education and sports and football in Georgia compared to what they do in Florida. And they're
right.
trying to petition for higher pay, and they're trying to do a lot to get coaches paid and just to get more money in that space. I mean, you saw what they did to Teddy Bridgewater down in Miami.
Right.
Just trying to help kids, and there's just a lot of challenges.
For Ubers.
Georgia, I think to me, Georgia does it right, and I'm happy to be in Georgia.
No doubt.
Yeah, no, and look, we talked to guys time that have relocated to other places or just in general, like we touch on a lot of different states, and it's like nobody's getting paid for at that point. At least you can kind of supplement with some other things, and obviously Florida is one of the worst when it comes to coaches pay or just in general. I mean, look, you've been in it, and we're talking guys, my buddy's the head coach down for Florida American Heritage, right? We've had Mike Smith on the podcast numerous times, and he'll never vocalize it, but like for what they get for the time they put in, and obviously the pressure and the amount of the athletes that are down there, right? I mean, you're talking, I think they just did a ranking, and he's number 2 with like the most guys on NFL rosters right now from a high school, and it's just a different world, and it's unfortunate, but Dave, we talk about it all the time in terms of, top states around the country for players and this and that. And Georgia has, they're in that top conversation regardless, right? Like you talk about your big three, and then like, they're one of the next states to be talked about in terms of that. So to see some of those guys, like, those stadiums being built and whatnot, and then the level of talent, I mean, obviously it helps that the University of Georgia has been really good for a good amount of time down there in SEC country. See, and that's what a little bit about up here is, we're a pro sports state, like New Jersey, New York, I mean, shit. They're both New York teams, but we have 2 pro teams. Like, you got the Jets, the Giants, and the Bills, which are north, but so we don't really count them in our area. You have Rutgers. Like it's kind of like you know what I'm saying? Like it's not, you're not talking University of Georgia, which, like that's what's there. SEC country is different, where football is the focal point. We also don't have spring ball here. Like there's no football spring here. So those types of things are so different when it comes to, the student athlete at the high school level and moving up. But you're in a good spot, man. Like I said, I really enjoy the content. Like I said, we sparked, like you said, we sparked a conversation based off of the backside of Y Cross and like what we were doing and sharing ideas and bouncing off. And that's what I love that networking and sharing between coaches, because look, man, like what works for me might not work for somebody else, but you know what I'm saying? Or you can have a conversation, coach, why don't you try this? Or why don't you try that? And that I would have never known to do some of those things or try some of those things, and vice versa. That's what I love about, you know, what we do on the podcast and talking to people with whatever we're talking about, whether it be, you know, football or nutrition or strength and conditioning or offense, defense, special teams. I mean, we get to touch on a lot of stuff that's really awesome to kind of gain that knowledge. Like you said, Coach Tatum, he does a great job with his offensive line stuff, getting guys that are networking and having those conversations and sparking ideas. I mean, it's just, you know, not that Dave and I don't talk for about, you know, an hour every day about something when it comes to it, right? Like, and that's, you know, Dave was a high school coach for a really long time, played at a really high level, Division I UConn. And I was, you know, an FCS player who transferred to a D3, and then, you know, an assistant coach. And now Dave coaches youth. I coach high school. We still bounce ideas off each other of like, yo, what do you do with this? Or, you know what I mean? Like, that's the cool shit that this stuff does. And you're doing a great job, man. Like I said, you continue to grow that thing. And I'll be watching. So when you want to come down and do like you know, we do some formal breakdown shows where we'll hop on and either pick a play or a concept, and we'll share screens and kind of break it all down and talk about some stuff, man. So when you when it settles down postseason, you know, let us know and we'll link up. But I appreciate you taking the time, dude.
Yeah, no doubt. Would love doing that. Appreciate y'all having me on. Best of luck to y'all this season, and yeah, look forward to staying connected and talking soon.
Yeah, man. Stay healthy.
All right, John. It's great talking to you, John. We'll talk to you real soon, man.
Yes, sir. I'll see y'all.
All right, bye.
Thanks, buddy.
All right. 4 p.m.
So, I love. Listen, you've talked about Atlanta being like a hot spot for a long time. You know what I'm saying? Or like that area.
Right. It's definitely a hot spot, you know.
And I mean, look, at such a young age for him to be able to have already been a head coach down in Florida and kind of orders now goes back to Georgia and gets to do, you know what I mean? Like, that stuff though that he does, like, dude, right away. And like I said, it was something about like Y cross and what were you doing with the backside, right? Because it was like 2x2 Y cross, right? He's coming up trying to get the 22-yard. Like, what are you doing with that backside receiver that he's leaving? It's like, oh, well, you know, we're running, you know, curl, or, you know, he's running a true dig trailing behind it. Like, you know, and we just started shooting back and forth. And then I started looking at his content and I'm like, oh shit, like that's awesome. Offensive stuff. It was some defensive stuff, and he was taking some higher level guys and breaking it down. But like you like kind of what you do, Dave, where you break it down to a level of understanding for like everybody. Like, hey, this is why they're doing that. You know what I'm saying? That to me is what grabs the attention. And even if he's not looking for clicks, he'll get clicks just because like guys want to see that stuff, or guys want to look at it more and more, and then keeping it under a minute, right? Like those short reel like hitters, bam, dude, like you're good. So it'll be cool to see where he takes it.
No, it'll be really cool to see where he takes it, where it goes from there.
You think we'll see a rise in guys like that? I mean, look, in the last 2 weeks, we've had 2 of these type guys on that, like, you know, do that stuff. Do you think we're going to see a lot more of it?
It gets clicks. So,
especially now, do you think it's more seasonal?
I think
maybe because there's more content out there just in general of like ESPN posted clips, or it's football season, so it's more of that out there.
Maybe, yeah, man, that could be what it is. I think,
but now with social media, you have a lot of access to it all year.
Yeah, you do. You get a lot of opportunity for that. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. That you got a situation where there's so many clips that are posted out by ESPN and
right.
That there's an opportunity for that. across the board, and I don't know if there's any, like, for me, it helps build my page, but
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if what it does for other guys, but I think that's a big part of it. um, Being able to post it, and it gives people more content and ideas. And there's a lot of these guys now. There's a lot of these guys that are doing it.
Right. That's why, to be honest, like when I do it, you know what I mean? It's not like, because look, I could have one of these guys. I could ask these guys every day, like, to come on, right? So it's really got to kind of be a certain like the approach to it, or just how like formal it is. How hard is it? What do you like? Is it really
It's not hard at
just
all.
like
I just look
grab
at
a click and
honestly,
then like sit there and be like, hey, this guy's running this or this guy's doing
I
that?
reverse engineer it. I just look at the play, I rewind it. I look at the blocking. I'm like, okay, I mean, look, if you're experienced, you
Right.
can pretty much pick up, at least offensively, some of the main concepts right away. What you do become pretty surprised by, in my opinion, is the how simple really most of the route concepts are. It's like,
Really?
yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
this is easy. You're like, dude, you're not doing anything that my 11-year-olds aren't doing.
No, they're not. The pros aren't. So,
Yeah, those guys are keep it simple, dude. Like, hey, this is
yeah, like
a post is a post.
What they do a great job of in the pros, okay, better than anybody else, is when they run a concept, they'll tag a cross on it, or they'll they'll put motion and window dressing and shifting, and those are the areas where things really become complicated, because you're trying to move the eyes of the defensive player. Like, to me, the number one thing I'm trying to do,
Yeah, you're playing games.
if I'm a pro coach, is these guys are so athletic and sound, and
Freaks
if
of
I
nature.
can get them to move their eyes where they shouldn't look,
Right.
just at the right time, and they're a little bit slower getting somewhere because they had to think about something that just happened. That's how you can, because if you play pro players straight up, like, and you just line-handed it off, like, I mean, it's going to be very hard for the offense to move guys, right? So doing things,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's more difficult. That's why crossing routes are so effective.
Yeah, that's why
Because
mesh works like shit.
you're playing man-to-man a lot in the pros, so you're playing a lot of
A
man-to-man.
lot
Now,
more.
mesh against zone, if the quarterback,
Find the window.
right, you got to sit down. You got to be disciplined in sitting down, right? So
Dave, run and
that's
shoot, brother. What am I talking? Find green grass, sit, right?
like, I think if you're running a true mesh offense or air raid offense,
You have
I
to
don't
rep
think
the
you
shit
can run a
out
lot
of
of
it.
play. You can't run a lot of plays, because if you run
You
a
gotta
lot of plays, you're not going to
Waste your time doing that.
Yeah,
Yep.
you're not going to be able to teach guys how to sit down in zone. That requires time, when to keep running.
Yes, it does.
Like you have to stop the play. It's the same play over and over again, but you have to stop the play. Hey, if they're doing this, you got to continue to run. If they're doing this,
Yes.
you got to sit down. And if
Right.
you're running an offense where, I don't know, let's say you're running like a lot of power concepts or sweep concepts, and then you're also intertwining heavy mesh and expecting them to know when to sit. No, like, you have to use it that mesh becomes
Your
something
play.
that if you're really, you could still, like, these guys use mesh as an offshoot now, and just have
Right.
them run, and the quarterback says, oh, okay, it's zone. When he gets over here, I'm just running in the window. It's as opposed to having them sit all the time, because
Right.
there's a true mesh, and that was what Matt Sakis was talking a lot about. Like, there's a difference between being a true mesh air raid team versus being a team that utilizes it in their combination of routes, right? And that's where the receivers are not going to be able, in my opinion. Like I wouldn't have I wouldn't have my guys read at this age. You know what I mean? Like there's just
absolutely not
too much. First of all, kids are misaligned. Like you're reading something,
all
you might
the
be
time.
misaligned. You know, you're thinking he's a man. No, he's actually not. He's just misaligned. You know,
right, Dave?
So,
like how many times have you prepared all week for? Hey, this is the defense. This guy's going to be here. You're blocking him. This guy's going to be here. You're blocking him, and then guys screw up in a game, and it's like, Coach, I'm not going to be there. And he makes the play. You're like, shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, to me, even that's what I'm saying. That's what I was going to say. Even a 16-year-old school kid to tell him like to read or do whatever, it's really difficult because
it's not a slam dunk.
You can't control all the factors 100%. Sometimes they got to do some shit like, hey, you know, it is what it is. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's not a diet. It's not a cookie cutter thing here.
I didn't have practice yesterday. We only got through like warm-ups and stuff because we had lightning, right? So
yeah.
So now I have a scrimmage. Now I already know I'm not going to get through everything. Today I have to organize who's going in where. So I have to get through this stuff. I need to know who's going in, right? So I got to do that. Because we don't have practice on Friday. I could probably do a walkthrough if I wanted to, but I'd also like them to rest a little bit. So, but yeah, like
Tony
so,
Holland.
you know, like you're trying to, you're limited at time. So
it's not like you can have it's not a meeting in or something, or you know what I mean, or like, hey guys, we're gonna get on a call and you guys are gonna watch this or whatever.
No, right, exactly. So
I mean, look, we took the first, you know, obviously we're in camp, right? But we went in this morning, 7 a.m., right? Meetings 7:15. We didn't get on the field till 9 because we watched film from the day before practice, right? And to me, that was way more beneficial than an hour and a half, you know, in meetings and having these guys see themselves on film than it would be to go out there and, you know, let's run routes, you know.
Right.
I thought that was extremely better. And that's after, you know, we've only Monday opened camp. So it was, you know, what helmets. And then, you know, yesterday, you know, today, day 2 of uppers, right? And then tomorrow is uppers. And then first full pad day is, you know, Saturday where we will actually like full blown like inter squad, right? And go, you know, or whatever it is, you know. But that's the first time they'll be in full gear, full go. You know what I'm saying? And with the way the rules are now, like you're trying to not cram, right? That's the wrong, but you're just trying to implement so many things in a shorter window now because it's only one session in the morning, right? So back when it was, hey, double sessions, you could plan for, you know, offense in the morning, defense in the afternoon, and like, you know, have that hyper level of focus for a amount of time. But now you're trying to cram everything in and make sure, you know, look, it's a fight every day. Is offense going first or defense going first? Because the guys that are probably going to get the most work with who goes first, because by the end of practice, it's like, hey, you know, it's over, you know? So, right. And look, and I don't blame them, right? But look, I think we do it really well with the way practice is structured and all of that. But dude, it's just natural when you know, the end of a 3-hour session or whatever, it's definitely not 3 hours. At the end of the session, however long it is, you're going to get lesser attention. You're going to get lesser speed. Like guys are tired. So you better prepare and make sure that you, one, know your game, and then 2, have a very structured practice plan where you're constantly changing things day to day to make sure that full go, you know, 100% kids are at their top session is what you need on a separate time. Otherwise, dude, if offense always goes first, your offense is probably going to be better than your defense this year.
Yeah, I think that's the other part that, you know, you want to make sure you have everybody in the right position. Like, I mean, I'm building out. I'm building the whole thing out. You know, I got a 2-point play group. I have this. I have that. And so
let's go. Yeah, listen.
I mean, I haven't even
We've
gotten
seen
next
it.
point, which I'm going to do today, which will basically be my
Oh.
2-point play group, and then I'm
We
just going to.
that's why I'm so fortunate that we did what we did so over summer, where basically the install for everything, offense, defense, and every special we did in the summer, right? Now we're in camp, it's just polish it, or the little tidbits of tweaks to, game weeks, the first opponent we play, right? Like, what punt formation do they run, so we can now structure it against that, or you know what I mean? Hey, we're gonna add this in for this, just those kind of things. We're not cramming everything into an install in camp because it's already been done in the summer. Now it's just, hey, let's polish it up and technique stuff, and let's work releases and whatever we can really get to the skill-based part of it, not so much the overall structure of everything.
Oh yeah,
right? Like that's. But look, it's different too, man. Like you hold them to a standard, right? And you know your team, what they can handle, what they can't. You have a great grasp of where guys should be and who's going to do what. It's not like you're figuring out, for the most part. I know this kid can do this. Like, no, like, you know what I mean? If you're still a high school coach and you're at that phase, right? Like, listen, no names to be said, but we talked to a kid the other day, and it was like, hey, we're scrimmaging or whatever, or we're gonna see you, like, or just having a general conversation of like, hey, what are you doing this year? And they're like, oh, we're trying to still figure out an odd front or an even front team. You're like, buddy, how do you not know what that is? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you not know what you're gonna be already? You're in camp, like, you're kind of already behind the 8 ball, dude. Like, now I get it. Some guys have certain situations where, maybe you don't know who's going to show up to practice every day, right? Like, maybe you're one of those teams, or, maybe some guys decided, hey, I'm not going to come out this year, and you were dependent on that guy, and that changes the landscape of your entire team. But for the most part, to me, I mean, hell, I think you should pretty freaking know what, you should have a grasp of kind of what you're going to do. You're going to do it with. That's for sure.
Right. Exactly. And I think that's the.
I mean, I'm sure there are high school football games on this weekend.
What's that?
I said I'm pretty sure like high school football in some states is like starts this weekend.
Oh
like,
yeah.
I mean, Battle at the Beach is 2 weeks away, and that's 3 of the nation's top 10 teams coming here to Jersey to play at Ocean City. So, I mean, Bosco's going to Texas here. Del Barton's going to Ohio, right? Like, I don't know if Del Barton's even really ever traveled like that. I know up by you, RBC is playing Middletown, Delaware. Their Middletown's coming up here. That's week 1 of the regular season for, up here in Jersey. But I mean, that stuff's, some of these guys are going to have 2-3 games before New York even starts their season.
You're right. It's that part is
and you're scrimmaging Saturday, baby. Let's go.
Other teams are already on like their multiple scrimmages already. I'm like, oh God, I'm like, am I behind? But
Now are you the only level? Are you the only level scrimmaging this Saturday?
No, guys have scrimmage today.
No, I mean, but for you, for your organization, your age group, age team, they're the only ones going to come down here on Saturday?
Yes, no one else is coming in. So
does Bricky, like, is United, do they have other age levels scrimmaging other teams, or you don't know? Like on Saturday?
I have no idea. I
I mean, to me, that would be smart, would organizationally wise. Like, hey, can we get somebody else coming out or scrimmaging the 12, or scrimmaging the 10s, you're scrimmaging? I don't know. That's just forbidden. You have teams that are scrimmaging for Middletown?
Yeah, I don't know who's scrimmaging when. I know. I honestly know very little about what other teams are doing. which is kind of
which is phenomenal because that kind of tells me that you're so dialed in, that or you're stressing because, you know, I can tell whenever you do hair through the hair, the hands through the hair, rarely do, dude. I'm like, oh shit, man, he's messing a little.
yeah. I mean, I'm stressing because I got to fill in. I like to have my depth chart done.
Oh, 100%.
So,
I'm big on that too because that determines to me how many reps each guy gets, or if I need to see somebody here, right? Like some of these guys just go, no, dude, I want to know who's doing what I need to see from that person. You know what I mean? Like, whoof.
Yeah, I think that that's a big thing. I know what guys did last year, so I'm pretty confident for the most part in what kids can do and from that standpoint.
Right.
But it's funny because
Yeah. I mean, even scrimmage wise, you're not
even
concerned with what they're doing.
Yeah, like when I go well, the hardest thing for me is like where do I put certain guys and that kind of stuff. So
right,
that's always pretty hard to figure out because when you have a lot of kids, so you have to figure.
What did you say?
I have 28, but like for example, which class 33, so they have way more than I have. So it's
right. So and you have
it's going to be harder for him to figure it out than even, you know what I mean? Like,
oh, absolutely. And also you have you have like a substitution thing, right? Where certain guys have to play a certain
certain guys figure them out.
Does not now is that is for that's scrimmages as well or not so much?
That is for that is for scrimmages as well. No, scrimmages you don't have to, but you're definitely trying to.
Of course.
You're definitely trying to like figure out who you want to put where and from that standpoint. So it's
now will you do special teams? What are you gonna do? Like 10 plays, something like that?
I think
yeah,
we're gonna do that, and then we'll probably do
some session.
Some sort of like we'll do specials. We'll probably do kickoff, kick return,
yeah,
pump return.
Yeah, man, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know me. I mean, you know me. Our first scrimmage, normally first guys, maybe they'll do extra point and field goal, and maybe they'll do punt. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what everybody does, but my guy's like, look, I don't care what anybody else does. Like, we are going to be ready to go live on any special team, like full go, and I want backups. So, okay, coach, let's go, baby. Like, I'm okay. Let's go. We're ready to fire on all cylinders, buddy. Like, it is what it is. I'm good with it. I would rather be over prepared and just say, like, hey, we're not going to do that, and that'll be okay. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather be ready to go if they're like, hey, you want to do punt? Like, sure, dude. How many reps do you want? Like, do you have twos? Because I do.
Right.
I'll share it with you. Like, I mean, you've seen how I do the depth chart for it, and like I said, we've done something a little different this year where I basically have ones and twos, but then I also have like a unit like best 11, right? Like best 11 players, regardless of position or. I mean, shit, even if they've played this before, you know what I mean? Like, they'll get reps during, like, a rep or two here during practice, but more of like, hey, it's the end of a game. We need the ball. Like, you guys are going down on kickoff type thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, all hands on deck, which I thought was pretty cool. We've coached them up to do it that way. The kids have bought in a little bit. Like, I'm on the green team. I'm on the gray team. I'm on the white team, because, ones, twos, and threes might hurt feelings, if we get there, but
no doubt. I think that's it's the depth chart thing is always, but we'll figure that out and go from there. But yeah, that was.
I mean, it is
it's
what
good,
it is, man.
good stuff. All right, bro.
Yeah.
Let me run. I'll give you a shot. I gotta give you a shot about something real quick, anyway. So, but
Yeah,
that
hit
was
me
good.
up.
All right,